welcome to the Hoops Rehab Show on a Sunday night. This is the crew, the Game Injury Doc, and Eric B. Mack. How you doing, Eric?
Doing pretty good, man. Just had a nice Mother's Day celebration and watched a little bit of basketball. How's everything with you?
Yeah, same, man. We celebrated my wife, the mother of my two children, so that was amazing. And shout out to all the moms out there, my mom, everybody's mom, your mom. Happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there.
Absolutely. Happy Mother's Day.
But happy Mother's Day. So, like always, follow our socials. It's at Game Injury Doc and at Eric B. Mack on all social media platforms. And then as well as the Hoops Rehab Show on YouTube and Instagram. Please follow that. We'll appreciate it. If you can like, comment, share our stuff, that'd be amazing. We're trying to get the word out there of the Hoops Rehab team, as well as the podcasts on Apple and Spotify that will be uploaded after this show and be ready for you guys in the morning. But what a day in the NBA on Mother's Day. But let's get it cracking and kind of get into the first game, OKC and Denver. What did you see, Eric?
Before that, the funny thing about like every Mother's Day, it's always tends to be like the second round of the playoffs. So I'm sure they always love all the basketball that's going on their day. Oh, yeah. But you know how that goes. So, but yeah, it was a good, really, really good matchup. Obviously, it wasn't the prettiest of games. Thunder just had one mission in mind, and was to get a W, and that's what they did. They had to tie up the series 2-2. It was pretty similar in a sense, like getting into like the fourth quarter as game 3, but we were wondering, can the Thunder win a close game in the playoffs? And they obviously answered that question today. And so obviously they have home court advantage now once again and have semi-control of the series, and looking forward to the next game. What did you see today? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, just that first quarter alone in that game, I didn't know what to expect, but there was some crazy defense going on both ends. The Nuggets were super cold to kind of begin the game. They had 8 points in the first quarter. So going into a playoff game, if you even have a chance after only having 8 points in the first quarter, you know, shows that what type of game it was, kind of grinded out type of game. Both teams are playing really good defense. The main thing that stands out to me in this series, and we were kind of talking about it earlier, is that in this round, in the first game, in the first 4 games, Jokic has not had more than 6 assists. In fact, he's had first game he had 6 assists, second game 6, third game 6, fourth game 3 assists, right? And he's averaged a triple-double in the season. So I was like, hey, you know what? Let me look back on his stats and see if he's ever had that type of 4-game span, and he has not. The most he's had in a span was 2 games that were 6 and under in a row. So that to me is showing what OKC is trying to do in this series, and this is trying to limit his playmaking ability. And I think it's been proven that it's been working right now. So they're swarming defense, throwing different bodies at him, has been helping out. And what are you seeing in terms of why you don't think he's getting his usual playmaking ability?
So I know one thing coming into the series, and of course after game 1, we were talking about how we expect them to just put up some gaudy type numbers because Denver doesn't have anybody like a Zubats, right? That's like big body. They can kind of give them fits. And so what OKC has done is they've been like, you know what? You're right. We don't have that, but we've been the best defense all year. We're going to, every time down the floor, it feels like we're going to give them a different look. So sometimes you got, you know, obviously Hardenstein on them. Sometimes even Lou Dort. Hell, I saw even Caruso on him. And so what I see that I think is happening is, so OKC is definitely not playing them straight up. They're crashing. But when you got guys like Lou Dort and Caruso, who I just mentioned, who are just, I mean, they just a magnet to the basketball. They're so active hands. Yeah. They're really making it tough for Jokic to pass like he normally does. And it's interesting because I mean, I've seen it these last few years. Teams have tried the double, and the Joker has been so good getting it out of his hands during a double and finding the open man. But something about OKC swarming defense is really giving him fits, and it's also translating on his shot as well. He has not been efficient whatsoever, and so I mean, that's been the series so far. I mean, obviously it's 2-2 and it's still technically anyone's game, but that's what I'm kind of seeing. Are you seeing anything different there?
Oh, 100%, right? So it's not only the assist for Joker. I mean, he's shooting 39.1% in this series, which is, I mean, if you look at by far what his season average is, like if you look by series, like last series, he shot 50%. And then you want to keep going like per month basis, 60% the previous month. Before that, 55%. And you can go on and so on and so on, 55 to 60% for field goal percentage, right? So not only are they not allowing him to be his playmaking ability, have his normal playmaking ability, they're limiting his shot and throwing bodies at him all the time. I mean, he was 0 for 10 from in game 3. So just from 3-point range, right? So it just there's something going on. I know. Well, we don't know for sure, but he's been wearing an elbow wrap since the first round, and there's definitely something going on with his elbow. They just haven't really said it, right? So they haven't really put anything out there, anything out in the ether, or anything for anybody to see. But there is probably something going on with his elbow, which could be limited in his shot. But there's no excuse. It's the playoffs. Everybody's injured. He was able to get 42 points on the first game. So we can't just make excuses for what's going on, but we do need to give credit where credit's due, and that's the OKC Thunder defense.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about how they had 8 points in the first quarter, and then in the fourth, 18. And so the Nuggets started out 3 for 27. The fact that they were up by 7 in the fourth after starting 3 for 27 is just a miracle. And what I noticed as far as like what caused that is they started getting to the foul line. So they got the Thunder in foul trouble in the second quarter, and they were just, I felt like almost every possession they were going down and hitting free throws, and that kind of slowed the game down even more. And they were able to turn it around, obviously build a small lead. I thought, wow, OKC's in big trouble. And at the end, it was just the depth. Obviously, SGA had a really nice game. And Thunder, kind of what they've been doing all year. It feels like it's like other than, of course, SGA leading the way, it's always been just different guys chipping in. And sometimes you think in the playoffs, you really can't do that. You can't play so many guys, but so far Thunder are just sticking to what they do. And as far as the Denver side, it's obviously really easy to say like it's exhaustion or injuries, right? Which they're all banged up. We know that. And it might be, it's just that, I don't know, Denver, I feel like they've been playing 7 deep the last 3 or 4 seasons in the playoffs. And obviously 1 year they went all the way, and last year, they didn't go all the way, but I mean, they still were pretty productive. So I don't know if it's that. I think it's just probably got to give some credit to the Thunder, right? I mean, they are obviously tremendous defensively.
Yeah. And remember, we talked about this going into the playoffs, but the OKC Thunder are the #1 rated defensive efficiency team in the league in the regular season. And they're showing every bit of that in this playoffs and really giving this Denver Nugget team fits. Albeit they still almost lost this game, right? So they're struggling on offensively what they would normally. I mean, they were a top 3 offensive team in this league, right? So they are definitely struggling on that end, and Denver's doing a much better job on defense, and they figured that out too. So it's one of those games, those series that is just going to go more than likely 7 games, right? And SGA kind of said in his press conference that it's basically a 0-0 series right now, and it's best person to win 2 games right now. All your focus is on and trying to win 2 out of 3. So great series so far. I think if Denver's going to have a chance at it, you're gonna need the playmaking ability from Joker. Like you're gonna have to have one of those games where he at least has 10 to 12 assists, possibly a triple-double. I think if he doesn't and he stays around that 6 assist range, I don't think they're going to win Game 5 in OKC. So I think that's a big Joker game in order to kind of win that.
Yeah, so when a team has home court advantage, and you get later in the rounds, we talked about this yesterday, where these series are not going to be over in 4 or 5 games. They're going to go deep. And so when you got home court advantage and you're 2-2 going into the final 3, you are in a decent spot. Now what's interesting is we're going to see how much this team has grown, because last year against Dallas, same exact spot. So they were down 2-1 going into Dallas game 4. They won it. And what ended up happening is they lost the next 2 and losing the series. So we're kind of seeing them put in the same exact spot a year later, same team, obviously a different opponent. But that's what I'm kind of interested to see, is did this team learn from last year? Are they going to go and get that game 5 at home? Because it is, to me, it's a must win for OKC. Believe it or not so much for Denver, just because there's obviously game 6 in Denver. But it's these games have been crazy in this series. Like I said, yesterday was it's a little bit too hard to predict, because you had a high scoring affair in game 1, a low scoring affair in this game. We had an OT game. We had a shellacking in game 2. So we've had a little bit of everything in the series, and I'm pretty excited that it's most likely heading to 7 games.
Yeah, hell of a series so far. Look forward to continue watching that and see what happens there.
Yes, sir.
Right. So let's kind of, as much as we can, get into this Cavs and Pacers shellacking, we're to say, which was, in my opinion, it was kind of shocking, right? And twofold, just because the way the Cavs played in game 3 gave you hope, or kind of gave the viewers some hope that they would come out and do kind of similar things in game 4. But props to Indiana, the young team. They decided to come out there and really put their foot on this series and just take it to the next level, right? And they did that. They were demolishing them in the first half and pretty much ruined any type of hope they would have going into the second half. So props to Indiana, props to the whole team, just kind of going out and handling their business. And now they have a 3-1 lead on the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference. What did you see in this game, and what do you think is going to happen with the rest of it?
Definitely not too much to break down in this game, but I think it's funny where I'm starting to see some memes about I think it was the 2016 Atlanta Hawks, who are the 1 seed. And they were kind of considered a fake 1 seed. They ended up actually.
Is that the Jeff Teague led team? Oh,
Paul Millsap. Obviously, what's his name from? Gosh, I can't even Kyle Korver.
They had Al Horford, right?
Horford,
all of them. Yep.
So, obviously, let's hit the brakes. They haven't lost yet, but I think it's getting there. So, I just thought that was funny to see. But yeah, man, it was with Indiana winning those first 2 games at home, kind of like I said with the Knicks yesterday, they earned the right to just really probably need to get one of the 2 home games. Mm-hmm. And so that was their mentality. I felt Cleveland was the one that was up 2-1 to start that game, because they came out so flat. It was 11-4, 13-4 right off the bat. And you see games like that and teams come back, but it was just an avalanche, so to speak. And I don't know, what happened. Obviously, Indiana's gotten the best of them 3 out of 4 games. Mm-hmm. The only saving grace is you're going back to Cleveland for game 5. Obviously, it depends on the health of Donovan Mitchell. Maybe they get that one, and I think Indiana will finish it in 6, but makes it a little interesting at least. And so, in a series when you are through 4 or 5 games, all the adjustments, I think it's pretty much thrown out the window. You can do that for game 1, 2, and 3. Now it's just about going out there and balling and seeing who the best team is and who's the most healthy and who wants it more. And right now, Indiana is showing the world, including myself, who I had them out in the first round. I think I had them out in the first round last year too. And they are obviously shocking all of us. And you know what? Just for Indiana's sake, finish them off in game 5. Just got them down, right?
Okay.
Just put them out of their misery, right? Because when the team wins a game, they get game momentum, and you never know what can happen. But if you're Indiana, you smell blood, you smell injuries, you smell excuses. And man, yeah, I think it's Indiana's definitely to lose going forward.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of talked about it last time. Tyrese Halliburton, he couldn't have one of those games where it just wasn't part of it, not getting everything going. And he got things going in the first half, got his team moving. He didn't need to do much in the second half. Obviously, they were up by so much. So just that overall, just spreading the ball, getting everybody moving, getting everybody in position, and just running the point guard position. He did a great job in that first half, and they got it done. So I think at this point, and I originally had the Cavs going down in the second round, right?
Yep.
And I think at this point, barring any sort of miracle, I think they are pretty much wrapped up, especially with the injuries, and they'll kind of lead us to the something happened segment where we talk about injuries in the playoffs. And tonight was a weird night, right? Donovan Mitchell went out at halftime to kind of warm up and then tried to make a move just to go into a normal jump shot, and then all of a sudden just hunched over. Ankle didn't feel right. He was having difficulty kind of moving around at that point. They listed him as doubtful, and he never returned. So it looks like he's going to get an MRI on that left ankle. If you guys remember, towards the end of the regular season, he was out for an ankle injury. So he was dealing with kind of some knick-knack stuff towards the end of the season. They said it wasn't anything major, but he's probably been dealing with something for this probably whole playoffs. If I would imagine, he's just kind of knick-knack, but able to play through everything. And I mean, the guy has been averaging 40 points for the whole series, right? So he's been a hell of a player the whole series. So it sucks to see him kind of go down like that. And also probably didn't help that they were down by 40 points or whatever it was at halftime. So they were going to come back in. So what were your thoughts on that and him not coming back there?
So at first I didn't see that he was trying to warm up at half. So I just heard that he was out, and I already imagined, you know what? I'm sure it's something, but because they're up so much, what's the point of bringing him back? Because they're down so much and Pacers were up. What was the point of bringing him back, especially if he semi-tweaked it? And so then I saw him obviously try to give it a go at the half, and it looked a little bit concerning because he obviously couldn't really land on it, or he moved to the side and he was hurting. I think he took a shot or something. And so, yeah, I know coach said that there will be an MRI tomorrow. And so we'll see. It's tough in my opinion, because we didn't see a clear as day play that we're thinking, oh, that's where it happened. It must have been lingering effects of his injury towards the end of the year. And so we'll obviously know game 5. We'll know real soon here, because which I'm surprised they didn't ask coach in the press conference if it was a close game, if he would have given it a go. I mean, maybe who knows if he would have even answered it, but I thought somebody was going to ask that, because that would have been interesting to hear. But yeah, I mean, they obviously need 100% or close to 100% Donovan Mitchell to even have a chance to extend this series for sure.
Yeah, that's for sure. And so that puts his availability up in the air, right, for game 5. And we really won't know until tomorrow when they kind of reveal the MRI and kind of see where he's at with that. So let's just wait and see until we kind of find out a little bit more on it. But didn't look good that he was just warming up and he felt something and didn't feel like he could get back there.
Yeah, it definitely has to be concerning if they're already saying, MRI as I mentioned. And I imagine unless it's really, really bad, he'll probably give it a go. And that's the thing about the playoffs. There's no rest for the weary. It's like they're gonna play already, I believe, on Tuesday, so only one day in between with travel. And yeah, man, it's been the story, unfortunately, in a couple of series. Injuries, especially the Cavs. We know how injured they were in games 1 and 2.
Yeah, for sure. There was some, I guess, Brian Windhorst did go on, and thanks, Cam, for kind of pointing this out. I saw Cam say that up right now. Brian Windhorst at ESPN said it was a calf injury and that he's actually been dealing with it. He admitted he was going through something, and it must have seemed like he aggravated during the warmups. So if that is the case, this is breaking news right now, that it's more of a calf injury. Which would make more sense on why he's getting an MRI, and that will really determine if he can kind of give it a go. If it was just ankle, I wouldn't be as concerned as I am if they say calf, right? So anytime we get into a strain, anytime we get into, just like we were talking about Steph Curry, the hamstring strains, calf strains, they're just very difficult to play through, even if they're minor, like grade 1. But the fact that he wasn't able to make it back and just felt something tighten up, and he's been really banged up the series. Remember in game 2, he was just getting bodied the whole fourth quarter, falling. It looked like it was his knee. Looked like he hurt his ankle. So there's been definitely a couple things going on for him. But yeah, this is breaking news there with it being more of a calf injury. Seeing what Wendy said recently on SportsCenter. So that does not look good if it's a calf injury versus an ankle injury. So tomorrow, I'll be out there tweeting and kind of figuring out what they see on the MRI, and then I'll get back to you with the latest on that.
Yeah, that's big news. Thanks, Cam. And yeah, I mean, obviously Brian Windhorst reported that, and so now that, as you mentioned, is definitely a bigger and different deal. It being a calf versus an ankle. I thought it was a little interesting that they were doing an MRI for an ankle tweak, but as you said, and as you've said many times, those soft tissue, calf, hamstring, they can lead to other injuries, and we've been talking about that obviously ad nauseum with Steph Curry. So. Yeah. Yeah, man, I hope he's well, and I hope he is out there in game 5 just to make it a somewhat competitive game.
Yeah, that's for sure. So let's see what they say tomorrow. But on some better news with an update on Steph Curry, it looked like before game 3, they said he had a strenuous workout, which was he was running at medium speed, they said, more of jump shots and kind of running around the court. He did not try to sprint, cut, or make any sudden quick movements yet to test a hamstring. And that would kind of be the last testing he would need to kind of be approved or allowed to play. Right. And so it didn't seem like he had any setbacks with that. And that is pretty positive news since we're still under a week from the original injury. And the last thing we heard was he was just doing some spot up shooting and not really moving much on the court. So good news in the Warriors front. I don't think that changes what happens tomorrow. It would have to be a miracle, but I don't think he's playing tomorrow in game 4. But they were predicting game 6, but does that mean that game 5 might be on the horizon for Steph Curry?
Yeah, that when we saw that news this morning, obviously running at medium speed and doing a few bits of activity more than kind of what was going on before or previous to as far as the news we heard, but it's still obviously not quite that game type of speed. And so that's what I thought about. I thought about was game 4 like a possibility, but they already had ruled them out. So I doubt that, but I think it does open the doors potentially for a game 5. Mm-hmm. And he better, because I know we're going to talk about it in a second. I think Minnesota is like, we're not losing another game. So, they obviously it's going to be a big game for Warriors, obviously, right? In many cases, because they win 1, it extends it to a guaranteed 6th game. And I'm pretty sure Warriors would feel a lot more comfortable with having him come back in game 6 versus game 5.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I mean, the worst thing they can do right now is try to bring him back early. And he even admitted and kind of talked about in his interview when he first was injured, well, that the hamstring can be almost like a sneaky type of injury, right? Because you feel good, like he could walk around probably without pain, and so it makes him think, give him kind of that false confidence that he can go out there and play, and it could be easily aggravated, right? So I think they still have to be cautious of that, and I think winning Game 4 would just do a lot for the Warriors, right? Because you could even up the series, kind of go on to Game 5, and maybe with the possibility of at least sitting him for 5 and coming back in Game 6 there. Best case scenario for the Warriors is just win tomorrow.
Yeah, they have to, like I said, for many reasons, and so Curry, big blow it's been, and so hopefully somehow, some way he's good and he comes back Game 5, because it's always a funner matchup when he's out there.
100%. All right, so that wraps up most of the injuries around the association for the playoffs. And now we wanted to get into just previewing Monday's games. We have 2 on the schedule. We have the Knicks and Celtics Game 4, and then we have obviously the Warriors and Timberwolves Game 4. So those are going to be like huge series defining games, right? Like tonight, right? Like Indiana taking care of the Cavs, going up 3-1. That kind of solidifies what's probably going to happen in that series. So let's start with the Celtics and Knicks and kind of what you see going into Game 4.
So we talked a little bit about it last night, and so it's a must win. Both teams probably feel it's a must win, but Knicks gotta get Game 4 if they want to have a chance in this series. And so Game 4 win puts them up at a 3-1 spot and puts them in a decent situation going forward. And for me, it's just real simple. It's their starts. They have to play better in the beginning of games. And, again, I talked a little earlier, like it's probably not going to be any type of something we haven't seen before or anything like that. It's just manning up and making sure that this game is a close game heading into the 4th. And they have proven that if it's close, they can definitely beat Boston. And so it's just been concerning where Boston has jumped up to these big leads, and they came back twice, but a third time, obviously it didn't happen. And so, it probably is going to just start on the offensive end. They got to find some easy ways to make baskets. Boston on offense is going to look very similar. New York is going to try to make them hit 3-pointers. Boston wants to shoot 3-pointers. If they're making them, it's going to be a long night for the Knicks. If they're missing them, maybe they have an opportunity to win, but they got to get some early offense. And, whether that is with the 3-ball, maybe kind of getting Cat going a little bit. Jalen Brunson has been really good, like kind of as the game goes on. Maybe maybe the Knicks need to kind of get him going. I feel like when we're playing the Celtics, it's always but
anybody but the Celtics,
anybody but the Greens. So yeah, that's just like obviously very high level. What about you? I mean, I know that you feel the same about the game itself, but what do the Knicks got to do? They got to get a win.
I'll tell you one thing. This is the Knicks Game 7. And that's the way you have to play in Game 4. Because if they don't play like it's a Game 7, there will not be a Game 7 for them. And they will be going home in, what did I say? They'll be going home in that quick 6. Okay?
Quick 6.
So they have to play like desperation ball. Like that's the only way I can kind of describe it. Forget schematics, forget schemes and all that stuff. You have to play as hard as possible. Get your crowd involved in it, or else like this series is over. Boston wins Game 4, and they probably rattle off 2 more there. So I expect the Knicks to come out with some energy because I think they know that. I think they sense that. And if I'm the Celtics, I smell blood. Right, like if I'm Joe Mazzulla, what does he watch? He watches The Town like every day or whatever. He's been watching that movie probably like 5 times a day at this point. he's going to give one of those speeches like where we're going to try to rip their heart out, and they're going to try to smell the blood and try to go for it, right? The Celtics have been up 20 points in all three games, right? At some point in these games. So they know exactly what to do with this Knicks squad. I just would hope that the Knicks can make some adjustments that will actually not get them in a 20-point deficit. They have to figure out a way to not let Boston just go off at some point in this game. Keep the game close and then just get the momentum and play like it's a game 7.
Yeah, they, like you said, they got to take advantage of this wonderful New York crowd. I mean, they were just like, I don't know if you saw in game 3, like they were just ready for a pop. And so much so that when Knicks were cutting it down from like 23 to 17, it felt as if the Knicks were in a tie ball game. And so utilize that crowd, get that energy going. I just was looking at something. I have to call out a player right now. OG Anunoby, I'm calling you out, man. And that's not a household name that we say here, but I was just looking. Speaking of offense,
I know what he did last game.
So I mean, game 1 he had 38 minutes, 5 points. That was game 2. Sorry, and then let me look. I want to make sure that you did not. Yeah, so game 2, yeah. So game 3 he had 3 points, right, or 2 points. Game 2, he had 5 points. And let me see what he had in game 1.
He had a good game in first game.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, okay, because speaking of offense, they need everybody to contribute. And so he's one that needs to, because I saw games 2 and 3. I'm like, that's not gonna get it done when you don't play a lot of guys, right? So
yeah, I mean, 2 games back-to-back duds. That's not gonna get it done when you're playing that many minutes. So they need to get something out of him, and he does provide that. He provides the 3-point shot, and he's able to get to the basket and be aggressive on defense and kind of create that fast break. So he's obviously, that sounds like he needs to be an X factor in game 4. Yeah, if he's coming out with 3 or 5 points, the Knicks aren't winning that game. I'll tell you.
Give me 20. Give me 20. That's all. That's what I'm gonna ask for. So and we'll talk about that tomorrow night. Yeah.
So if OG gets 20 points, the Knicks are winning game 4. That's what Eric B. Mack says, and I agree with that one.
Yep, that's that over under. So, but yeah, man, it's gonna be a fun game to watch. Just Knicks got to just make it happen. Although I'm a little weary about if it is gonna happen. So,
like I said, New York, don't lose 2 at home. It is not going to be good for the series. So, all right. So moving on to our last game for tomorrow, which is another pivotal one, Warriors and Minnesota. Minnesota went into game 3 and kind of handled their business and like they should, right? Without a team that doesn't have Steph Curry, right? So they should go in there and really try to get these games. Again, the Warriors need to play. I mean, it's like how the Knicks. I don't think they're in the same state as the Knicks, but they do need to play with some desperation because they can't bank on Steph Curry coming back. I know you saw the interaction between Anthony Edwards and Gary Payton III, right? Mm-hmm. Where he says, "Oh, you guys are waiting to get to game 6 for Curry to get back, huh?" And he said, "Yeah, that you should not be worried about that at that point. Like that's the mentality that the Warriors have right now."
That was some gamesmanship for sure. Yep.
And you can see he's going to talk trash and try to get that out of people, right? And he got that on record. Yep. And he did that probably on purpose. Mm-hmm. And my thing is, like, if your mentality is let's ride it out until Steph gets back, you will probably be gone in this series. It'll be too late for Steph to come back if you're talking about let's get to a game 6. Win some games first. You are a team. You have Jimmy Butler. You have Draymond Green. You got Buddy Hield. You got some players that can win a game in this playoffs. Play like it. Don't play like Steph. Don't wait for Steph Curry to come back. Yes, he is the engine that runs this team, but you need to step up and handle your business and allow him to heal. So you want to win a championship? You're not going to win a championship with this mentality. I'll tell you that. So I hope they go into this game with a different mentality than what they went in with game 3.
Yeah, like I definitely have a little bit more confidence in Golden State versus Boston. I'm sorry, versus the Knicks in the next this game coming up. Obviously, just because they got the coaching, they got some veterans, they got some really good players, but you kind of went on a little bit of a rant with Golden State. I'm going to do the same with Minnesota. So Minnesota, you made the Western Conference Finals last year. You're looking to take that next step, and you've arrived. These are those series that you just got to take a team out. Don't even worry about when Steph is going to come back. You know why? Because we're not going to see a game 6. We're going to make sure Golden State doesn't win another game in this round. And the way we can do that is play Minnesota Timberwolves basketball, because if they do, I think they will win out and win the series in 5. Obviously, no disrespect to Golden State. I can see the Warriors pulling out game 4 just because they are who they are. But I think both teams are it's going to be mano a mano. They're going to both have the mentality of like, we got to get a win. And Minnesota's like, I don't even care about Steph Curry. We know you're waiting for him in game 6, but we're going to take you out in 5, and we're not going to even have to worry about that. We'll see him next year in the regular season when, we face off each other. So that's what I think Minnesota is probably the mindset they have. Now it's about going out there and doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's right. I mean, Minnesota has to go out there, like, put the foot on the pedal and handle business like the way the Indiana Pacers did. Right. Yep. If you feel like you've arrived and you feel that you've obviously went to the conference finals last year, then be that team. Right. I mean, simple as that. So I'm excited to watch this game because, like, you got two teams with, like, just polar opposite stories, right? Young Anthony Edwards trying to arrive and be here and try to get to the finals, where you got a veteran-laced team with a star that's injured, and they're trying to just survive, right? So let's see if we can get that matchup where it evens up and becomes 2-2. That's what I would like to see, because I want to see a long series. I do want to see Steph Curry get back. It'd be a shame for them to go out without him playing, especially because I said it earlier. I said it before they started this round that I felt like the Warriors could win the championship, and I think they will win the championship. But that was before Steph got hurt, right? So if Steph can get back, they give him time, at least even up this series right now, which gives them a little bit more time, because if they can get to that after game 5 when they have that break of 3 days, that will be crucial for his healing with his hamstring, and I think he would definitely be back for that game 6 at that point.
I think all of us that are not, in particular Golden State or Minnesota fans, we were all hoping for a 2-2. We want to see a long series. We want to see a good series, and so, man, I love the slate of games tomorrow. When it's the Boston Knicks and Golden State, Minnesota. I think that's my favorite. I think it's my favorite day out of the two. Just because it's just star power and obviously competitiveness, and so definitely looking forward to the outcomes of those two, and then recapping it afterwards.
That's for sure. Before we get on out tonight, because we want to do a quicker show tonight, because we'll be back on tomorrow, I want to give a real shout out to our boy Cam Miller, because this is what this show is about, right? I kind of went into the show. I kind of researched everything that was going on, kind of heard the ankle, but I didn't see that Windhurst went on and talked about his calf, right? And that makes more sense why he's getting the MRI. And this is why we interact on the comments, right? We have people comment on our YouTube, people comment on our Twitter, and that's what it's all about. So I appreciate you, Cam. Thanks for kind of putting that little quote in there.
Appreciate it.
And again, like always, when we're on this show, please comment. We interact. We're not one of those shows that's not going to interact. We want to interact with our audience and do our best to try to get to every comment. So we appreciate you guys. And got anything else left to say, Eric?
No, just thanks, Cam. Appreciate anything that we can get from everyone out there, and hope everyone has a wonderful Monday, and we'll see you guys after the 2 big games tomorrow night.
Let's go. All right. Take care, guys.
Peace out.
And the Hoops Rehab team is out.